The poor Trumpies. Um, so I'm reading these responses from these Trumpies. Now, some of them were older, but a lot of them were, I would say, between the age of 18 and 25. We're talking about the libs. Okay? So, first off, at that age, you don't know what a lib is. You've barely started life. You, you know, you, you, you don't have any responsibilities. You don't, you, at that age, you don't have a higher education. And you're basically a reflection of your parents' ideals about the world. And that's normal. There's nothing bad or abnormal about that. It's the normal way of things, the way stories and everything have been passed on all throughout history, you know what I mean, or oral. And so kids grow up hearing these conversations, and they're like this, man. Okay, they may act like they're not listening, but they're like this. They're listening to every word, and they're formulating before they have an understanding of the world. They're formulating how they relate to the world as far as what you're saying. And they really don't have their own ideals and opinions at the age of 5. And then by the time they're 20, they have this floating. I would term it a floating opinion about themselves, the world, politics, economics, geopolitics, this kind of thing. Because you unless you're a high IQ genius, you really don't have the tools. Okay, and it was just they were basically they were reinforcing each other's discussion about, oh, it's the libs and the deep state and the CIA and the all of these really bizarre, unhealthy ways of looking at reality. You see, there were over 150 presidential historians, and they're from the American Political Science Association. These people they're not Republicans or Democrats or libs or whatever. And maybe some of them are Donald Trump cult members. I don't know. But these are people who are educated and knowledgeable about what it takes to even have a voice in this opinion. Okay? They've earned the right. And when they put Donald Trump at, the lowest of the low, bottom of the list, 2 times in a row, he's a double hitter on this lowest rating. They refuse to accept that. Now, I can tell you that these people are going to have a very hard time in life. They don't understand it now. They don't understand it now. They're going to have a very difficult time in life. Let me see if I can. Nope, I don't really see. So, psychologists believe our values tend to cluster around certain poles, described as intrinsic and extrinsic. Okay? Again, these are people who have these are people with doctorate degrees who've studied for many years because they have a craving to understand people and the world and society. And this is why people go into psychology and You know, I had therapists for many years, and some were good and some were bad, and it was extremely easy to tell who was really there to help and who was there to make money. I learned that the hard way, and I learned it real quick. Okay, but most groups, when they formulate an opinion, which is more of a theory backed by many, many years of studying, asking questions, you know, the results of therapies on groups of people, questionnaires, etc. They've come to this intrinsic, extrinsic. Now, people with a strong set of intrinsic values are inclined towards empathy, intimacy, and self-acceptance. They tend to be open to challenge and change. They are interested in universal rights and equality, and protective of other people and the living world. This is who these kids would have called libs. They have no idea who's protecting the world they live in. People of the extrinsic end of the spectrum, because it does go from here to there, okay, are more attracted to prestige, status, image, fame, power, and wealth. That was me when I was 25 through 30. It really was. They're strongly motivated by the prospect of individual reward and praise. They're more likely to objectify and exploit other people. We see it every day with the scams, the YouTube commercials that are, you know, they tend to behave rudely and aggressively to dismiss social environmental impacts. They have little interest in cooperation or community. People with a strong set of extrinsic values are more likely to suffer from frustration, dissatisfaction, stress, anxiety, anger, and compulsive behavior. And I can tell you that is not conducive to a logical and, you know, progressive education where you learn and grow your whole life. I have watched many of these Trump cult members that are gray-haired 70-year-olds that really are static. There is no, they have no empathy or they, you know, the environment, anything that has to do with others, they're not interested. And anyone who doesn't believe the way they believe, in their opinion, is part of the problem. They don't say uneducated. They don't say they're, haven't studied the situation. What they say is they're the CIA. They're the libs. They have these little key names for people, but they never talk about, well, this person has a doctorate and you graduated high school and that was it, and you haven't read a book since then. And so where did you form your opinion? When you say they're with the CIA, what do you know about the CIA and how it works, and how they choose who can be in the CIA? Like Tucker Carlson, they refused him for obvious reasons. Now, when you look at it, it's obvious why they did that. See? So, yeah. Intrinsic and extrinsic. The part that gets me is they're inclined towards intimacy, self-acceptance, and empathy, which is the point where I've grown to in my life. It's only taken 71 years, but I finally got to a point where I care more about the well-being of others, including the Trump cult members, than I do myself. There's a movie. It's called Brainstorm. It's Christopher Walken and Natalie Wood. And this was a helmet that you could put on, and you could literally experience what the other person was experiencing emotionally, physically. And of course, corporate entities immediately thought of porn. The amusement park types immediately thought of, oh, well, I'll be on a roller coaster, and this grandma of 70 who can't go on a roller coaster can put on this helmet and actually believe and see that she's on this roller coaster. Okay, that type of technology. The entire movie is, it's a view of how humans tend to shut out those things that they don't wish to explore within themselves. And therefore, they shut out what they don't want to explore in others. This is why self-acceptance and inclined towards empathy, okay? Interested in universal rights and equality, and protective of other people and the living world. You see, that's how the whole movie. And well, I don't want to ruin it for you. I own the Blu-ray, which I recently found. Wasn't easy, but I think you can buy it at Amazon, or try to find it on any streaming service and watch it. It's enlightening in many ways about how that technology could benefit mankind if we could simply put on a helmet and experience the world the way that person experiences it. I think you would find that most of these Trump cult members aren't bad people. They're not bad. They're not evil. Okay? You might even want to go fishing or play cards or go camping or hunting with these people. As long as you didn't talk about politics, you'd be amazed at how well people do get along. But seeing someone's opinion by walking a mile in their moccasins is the only way to truly understand another person. And if you're not willing to do that, or if you haven't done it, okay, then your opinion is worthless. I've been there, done that. I was the person who was attracted to prestige, status, image, fame, power, wealth, strongly motivated by the prospect of individual reward and praise. Yeah. So it's called Brainstorm. See if you can find it. Okay. I feel I wish that I could educate these people instantly in a wide field. Now we're talking about sitting a person down literally 8 hours a day for 5 years and educating them on science, social issues, history, psychology, you know what I mean? Environmental impacts. Some of these Trumpies who don't believe in climate change are the kind that want to believe the world is flat. And that, it just goes hand in hand. It really does. So I feel bad for them, because I understand how they're being played and used, not even by the Republican Party, but by those billionaires who are the true destroyers of our planet. That includes every billionaire, okay? There are no good billionaires, because a good billionaire wouldn't be a billionaire. They would simply be known for their generosity and kindness and, their helping of other people. That's what they would be known for. Yeah. People know that one of my big things is the shape of the planet, not just societal wise, because, I believe that people can change. Anyone can change. I've always said that, and I always believe it. People can change. They can change for the better, and they can change for the worse. But over periods of time, people can get stuck, and they don't learn anymore, and they don't explore anymore because they're so focused on self-gain. They don't even have self-acceptance, because this is why they're striving so hard to be something they're not. Okay? They will be pressed very hard to find happiness in anything. Everyone knows my main thing is the environment, because, well, like I said in my near-death videos, I was shown things that were just horrifying. Horrifying. When I talk about the gas pedal and the accelerating effect, okay? This is a climate sensitivity number, and they're just talking about it now. But I've known about it for a very long time, because I've seen the acceleration of these pressure points on the world, And I know where that's going to lead. It's not just going to be hotter. It's not just going to be hotter. And it's not going to be 50 years. And people that I love and care for right now are going to live through some of the things that I saw. And that's important to me. Whereas your extrinsic person could give a flying fuck, because it's all a big lie meant to fool them out of their belief that, Donald Trump was sent by God to save us, and all these weird, for me, psychological disorders. For me, I see a person that's psychologically damaged and incapable of rational thought, not just because they lack the education in a broad sense so that they can draw a conclusion, okay? But they refuse to even explore other alternatives to the way they're thinking. So, these kids thought, and what they said was very disturbing, about we need to be a Christian nation, and that faggots should all be killed, and women shouldn't have the right to vote. Women, he said women, black people, he picked out all the minorities. They should be looked at equally in God's eyes, but that doesn't mean that societal equality should also be the same. In other words, women shouldn't be able to vote. Black people shouldn't be able to vote. Okay? That is a damaged individual. He learned that from his parents. His parents made him that person. We're not born that way. Okay? Survival instincts of the species, okay? Origin of species. I mean, that's not the kind of behavior that benefits the planet, the human condition. As a matter of fact, it's a negative impact towards the survival of the human species. So it's not natural to think that way. So we're created by that. That kid's parents turned him into a hate-filled cult member before he ever had a chance to develop on his own. This is why when you look at Israel and Palestine, the children of those parents on either side, they've taught their children to hate the other side. It doesn't always work. There are many, many Israelis that understand the plight of the Palestinian people and why it's so unfair. And then you look at people like Benjamin Netanyahu, who's only interested in maintaining power. He's an extrinsic person to the extreme. So is Donald Trump, Elon Musk. Okay, the list is big. And unfortunately, these tend to be people in power because, again, this is what they crave. They're strongly motivated by the prospect of individual reward and praise. They are more likely to objectify and exploit other people, to behave rudely and aggressively, and to dismiss social and environmental impacts. They have little interest in cooperation or community. Okay? They're more likely to suffer from frustration, dissatisfaction, stress, anxiety, anger, and compulsive behavior. That's exactly what I saw in these kids. Thank God the majority of the world isn't like that. I'm very thankful the majority of the world isn't like that, but it only takes a few bad apples to ruin the barrel, okay? And this is what's happening now. I talk about methane not being included in climate models. That is on purpose. There's a reason for that. And I don't care if it's CNN or Fox or Joe Biden or anyone else, okay? They don't talk about that. And they don't talk about the climate sensitivity number, which says everything that we're fearing, our greatest fears that are going to happen, is going to happen in 20 years. This is what the climate sensitivity number is telling us now. That the worst of the worst is going to start happening in 20 years, not 50 years, not 100 years, 20 years. That means that my great-granddaughter will be 22 years old, just starting her life when the world will be falling apart in a big way. Okay, I had to get that off my chest. But I don't have hate feelings for these people. I fear them. I fear them. I fear the determination of the hate that I see in them. That's what I fear. I see that they're going to be an old white-haired person and still have that same hate-filled extrinsic attitude because they won't care to change or look inward at oneself for self-acceptance. Okay? So, okay, I've said enough for the day. I'm going to try to get some more information for my next near-death video that will hopefully people will look up and relate to, so that you can understand some of the things that I'm saying will make more sense to you.